Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear student, Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. M.D. Kamaluddin, Professor and Head, Department of Pharmacology, Ad-Din Women's Medical College, Dhaka. Today's topic is diuretics. What is diuretics? Diuretics are the drug which causes excess excretion of urine with loss of sodium in urine. Thereby, diuretics is the drug which causes diuresis and natriuresis. In pharmacological point of view, our target is drug which act as a diuretics. There are so many diuretics act as a different parts of the kidney. So first of all, we know the classification of diuretics. Diuretics are classified in two ways, according to site of action and according to efficacy. According to efficacy, that is low efficacy diuretics, high efficacy diuretics and medium efficacy of diuretics. First of all, we discuss about diuretics which acts according to site of action. According to site of action, site 1, that is proximal convoluted tubule drugs, osmotic diuretics, carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. Osmotic diuretics are mannitol, isosorbide, glycerol, and carbonic anhydrase inhibitors are acetazolamide, brinzolamide, and dorzolamide. Site 2, ascending limb of loop of Henle, we are called loop diuretics. Loop diuretics are furosemide, bumetanide, torsemide, and ethacrylic acid. Site 3, diuretic acts on the distal convoluted tubule, thiazide diuretics. Thiazide diuretics are thiazide, hydrochlorothiazide, benzoflumethiazide, chlorothiazide, chlorthalidone, indapamide. Site 4, drug acts on the collecting tubule, that is potassium sparing diuretics, spironolactone, amiloride, and trimetazine. The site and mechanism of action of diuretics, we mention these osmotic diuretics. Site of action is proximal tubule, loop of Henle, and collecting duct. Mechanism is inhibition of water and sodium reabsorption. Carbonic anhydrase inhibitors acts on the proximal convoluted tubule, inhibition of bicarbonate reabsorption. Loop diuretics acts on the loop of Henle, inhibition of sodium potassium chloride co-transport. Thiazide diuretics, early distal tubule, inhibition of sodium chloride co-transport. Potassium sparing diuretics, late distal tubule and collecting duct, inhibition of sodium reabsorption and potassium excretion. For your easy understanding, I am showing here the nephron. The nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. Diuretic acts in the different parts of the nephron. Here showing the proximal convoluted tubule, and the diuretics are osmotic diuretics, carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, and showing the loop of Henle, that is ascending limb of loop of Henle. Here acts diuretics, mention this loop diuretics, and distal collecting tubule. Here diuretics is thiazide diuretics and collecting duct act potassium sparing diuretics. So here mention the diuretics which acts according to site of action. classification of diuretics, that is another classification is according to efficacy. That is the capacity of a diuretics X. According to efficacy, high efficacy diuretics, medium efficacy diuretics and low efficacy, that is weak diuretics. These diuretics acts with adjunct with other diuretics. Now we discuss about individual diuretics. First of all, we discuss low efficacy diuretics, that is weak diuretics used with combination with other diuretics, especially potassium sparing diuretics. Weak and adjuncting diuretics, these are the carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, acetazolamide, brinzolamide, dorzolamide. Osmotic diuretics we mentioned previously, and potassium diuretics, these all are the weak diuretics. They used usually combination with other diuretics. Now we discuss carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. Prototypical drug is acetazolamide. It is a sulfonamide derivatives. Mechanism of action of carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. It inhibits carbonic anhydrase enzyme at multiple sites. Type 1 in cells of proximal tubule, they act less hydrogen ion available for exchange of sodium, that is hydrogen ion exchange with sodium. Type 4 on the membrane of proximal tubule cell, less carbon dioxide available for diffusion into cells, thereby inhibition of sodium and bicarbonate reabsorption in proximal tubule. Sodium gets absorbed in exchange with potassium in distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct, and bicarbonate lost in excess in urine. In figure showing the mechanism of action of carbonic anhydrase inhibitors for your easy understanding, here carbonic anhydrase, the enzyme acts on two sides. Then at the luminal site, carbonic anhydrase inhibits carbonic acid converted to hydrogen, water and carbon dioxide. In presence of carbonic anhydrase, carbonic acid converted to water and carbon dioxide. Normally this happens, and water and carbon dioxide enters into the cell. Here carbon dioxide and water by the enzyme carbonic anhydrase converted to carbonic acid. Carbonic acid then dissociate hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion. Hydrogen ion enters into the circulation and bicarbonate ion enters into the circulation, and hydrogen ion with exchange of sodium enters into the lumen. If there is carbonic anhydrase is inhibited by carbonic anhydrase inhibitor drug, thereby no formation of carbonic acid, because carbon dioxide and water convert into carbonic acid by the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. When it is inhibited, no formation of carbonic acid, thereby no dissociation of hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion, thereby no exchange of hydrogen ion with sodium, and hydrogen ion exchange with sodium, thereby no hydrogen ion is available for sodium exchange, thereby sodium remain in the lumen, and bicarbonate is not combined with hydrogen ion to convert it into carbonic acid, thereby excess bicarbonate in the lumen and excreted with urine, and in the luminal part carbonic acid converted to water and carbon dioxide. If there is carbonic anhydrous is inhibition, thereby no formation of water and carbon dioxide. Thereby excess bicarbonate and sodium excreted in urine. Interesting thing is there, sodium when passes through lumen in the distal and collecting duct, it exchanges with potassium, thereby some sodium is reabsorbed in exchange with potassium. Clinical indication, that is clinical use of acetazolamide. Main use in glaucoma, decreased formation of aqueous humor, mountain sickness to alkaline urine, periodic paralysis and epilepsy. Adverse effect of acetazolamide: acidosis, hypokalemia, drowsiness, paresthesia, fatigue, abdominal discomfort, hypersensitivity reaction, bone marrow depression, interferes with elimination of ammonia in urine, contraindicated in liver disease. Second diuretics is low efficacy. Second diuretic is potassium sparing diuretics. There are two types of diuretics. One is the channel blocker and another one is aldosterone antagonist. Channel blockers, that is sodium channel blockers, are amiloride and trimethoprim. Aldosterone antagonist is spironolactone and eplerenone. Aldosterone antagonist, that is spironolactone and eplerenone. Spironolactone conserve potassium indirectly, produce mild natriuresis, that is potassium sparing diuretics. No effect in the absence of aldosterone. Useful in states related to high aldosterone activity. Spironolactone has hormonal side effects. Eplerenone is safer in this regard. It is better than spironolactone. Potassium sparing diuretics, how it acts. These are the diuretics which do not promote the secretion of potassium into the urine. Thus, potassium is retained. Potassium is retained and not lost as much as with other diuretics. Other diuretics loses sodium, the potassium sparing retain potassium. Aldosterone antagonist, spironolactone, which is a competitive antagonist of aldosterone. Aldosterone normally adds sodium channels in the principal cells of the collecting duct and late distal tubule of the nephron, preventing sodium reabsorption. Spironolactone use indication in adjuvant therapy with other diuretics, thiazide diuretics, loop diuretics in the treatment of hypertension. It retain the potassium, thereby minimize the adverse effect of loop diuretics and thiazide diuretics, because loop diuretics and thiazide diuretics causes hypokalemia. Hypokalemia is dangerous for the heart. Thereby, if we use potassium sparing diuretics, it minimizes the adverse effect of loop diuretics and thiazide diuretics. For the treatment of edema, mild edema in nephrotic syndrome, cirrhosis of liver, congestive heart failure with combination of other diuretics, and primary hyperaldosteronism. Adverse effect of spironolactone: drowsiness, mental confusion, ataxia, epigastric discomfort, and there may be loose motion. Interacts with progestin and androgen receptor, thereby cause adverse effect. Hormonal adverse effect is important: gynecomastia, erectile dysfunction, loss of libido, menstrual irregularities, and breast tenderness. Hyperkalemia in renal impaired patients, because their retain of potassium thereby cause increased potassium level in the blood. Thereby adverse effect is hyperkalemia. And acidosis in cirrhotic patient. It is not used in peptic ulcer. It is contraindicated in peptic ulcer disease. Another diuretics is eplerenone, lower affinity of androgen and progestin receptors. It is indicated in moderate to severe congestive heart failure, post-infarct left ventricular dysfunction, and hypertension. Eplerenone side effects is less than potassium sparing, that is spironolactone, because eplerenone less affinity to aldosterone receptor. Potassium sparing diuretics, another group is sodium channel blocker. Direct block the sodium channel. These drugs are trimetazine and amiloride. They do not block the aldosterone. Thereby, aldosterone side effect is absent here. No hormonal mediated side effect occurs. They decrease the potassium excretion accompanied with small increase in sodium loss. Thereby, decrease potassium excretion and sodium loss in urine. Potassium thereby called potassium sparing diuretics. Alkaline urine produced and reduces calcium and magnesium excretion. Amiloride and mechanism of action, how it acts. These are the luminal side, these are the cell, and in the extracellular fluid, the circulation. Amiloride block the channel, thereby no excretion of potassium and no entrance of sodium, thereby increased concentration of potassium in the cell and in the circulation, thereby excess amount of sodium excreted with urine and excess amount of potassium retained in the tubules and thereby enters into the circulation, thereby cause hyperkalemia. Clinical use of amiloride as treatment of hypertension is adjuvant therapy. It prevents hypokalemia, increase natriuretic response, more likely to develop hyperkalemia if given along with ACE inhibitors, ARBs, NSAIDs, and beta blockers. We know angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors and angiotensin receptor blockers, they also cause hyperkalemia. So when combine use this drug with amiloride, thereby hyperkalemic condition more severe form. So these two drugs not used simultaneously. Adverse effect of amiloride: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, decreases entry of lithium in collecting duct cells, lithium induced diabetes insipidus. Trimetazine, another potassium sparing diuretics, sodium channel blocker, impaired glucose tolerance, photosensitivity, rise in blood urea. Next, another important diuretics is osmotic diuretics. These all are the low efficacy diuretics. Osmotic diuretics are mannitol, isosulfur dinitrate, urea, glycerol. Osmotic diuretics, it is non-electrolyte, low molecular weight diuretics, and pharmacologically inert, acts by retaining osmolarity of plasma and tubular fluid, gets pre-filtered at glomerulus, limits tubular water and electrolytes reabsorption, limits tubular water and electrolyte reabsorption. Mannitol, tubular water and electrolyte reabsorption action of mannitol mediated by retaining water isoosmotically in proximal convoluted tubule and descending limb of loop of Henle, inhibit transport process in thick ascending limb, expand electrocellular fluid volume, increase renal blood flow. Mannitol should be administered in parenteral route, intravenously, not used in oral route. If mannitol used as a oral route, it do not act as a diuretic action. Then it acts as a purgative action. So, route of administration is important. For diuretic action, it should be given in parenteral route. For purgative action, it gives in oral route. So, route of administration is important. Indication of mannitol, where it uses: increased intracranial pressure, increased intraocular pressure, counteract low osmolarity of plasma and electrocellular fluid, extracellular fluid due to rapid hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis. Contraindication, where not use mannitol: renal insufficiency, acute tubular necrosis, anuria, pulmonary edema, acute left ventricular failure, congestive heart failure, and cerebral hemorrhage. Side effects of mannitol: headache, nausea, vomiting, hypersensitivity reaction. Conclusion about low efficacy diuretics, that is weak diuretics. Though it is low efficacy diuretics, that is weak diuretics, either act early in proximal convoluted tubule or in the distal tubules and collecting ducts. That is, weak diuretics acts on the proximal tubule and late distal tubule and collecting duct. Acetazolamide has its self-limiting action, produces acidosis and marked teleuresis. Not used as a diuretics, usually used for the treatment of glaucoma. Spironolactone has activity on progestin and androgen. Thereby, it is having hormonal adverse effect. Eplerenone safer in this regard. Potassium-sparing diuretics acts either by antagonizing the activity of aldosterone or by directly inhibiting action of epithelial sodium channel. That is, potassium channel sparing diuretics. Potassium sparing diuretics acts either by antagonizing the aldosterone or by blocking the sodium channel. Thank you, student, for your patience hearing. Allah Hafiz.